Hey guys, welcome to Coma Pirate Radio, where we esoteric pirates slide our boats together, throw some ropes and tie some knots, talk about some maps, and maybe, just maybe, we can find the buried treasure. So, this is story time with me. We're going to be exploring this Sufi story called The Man Who Was Aware of Death. And it happens to be on page 77. And I've actually been looking at this story since the 7/7 portal. It kind of came out. I've been sitting on it. And I had to wait till it was time to say it. It was written by a Sufi, excuse the pronunciation, I'm going to try the best I can, named Bayazid of Bistam. Something like that. He lived south of the Caspian Sea, and he died in the later 19th century. Now, his grandfather was a Zoroastrian, and I have very close feelings, very deep, deep emotional feelings to Zoroastrianism and that, all of it. Okay. So, the story, of course, I'm like, of course it's on a boat. Of course, it starts off with the boat being boarded. And if you've watched my TikToks, I've been talking a lot about boarding the spaceship. There's been a lot going on about, are you ready? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to get people to do it together? Anyway, everybody is boarding the ship. And there's a Sufi dervish, right, on board. Obviously, this is Sufi stories. So it was customary whenever you boarded a ship and you saw the Sufi, because, you can spot a mystic from anybody else. Usually it's what they're doing, right? Even if they're physically doing whatever they're doing the same as everybody else, there's an energy about somebody that has a really high vibration. Okay, we all get it. We all know it. So everybody that's coming on board is asking the Sufi for advice. That's the custom. You always ask a Sufi for advice. And I was like, of course. Who wouldn't see somebody sitting in the corner meditating and not want to be like, hey, can you give me some advice? Why do you think all of the tarot readers on TikTok are doing so good? Give me some advice, right? Anyway, what happened in this story is the dervish repeats the same thing to everybody. Now, you can kind of feel this, right? From everybody else's perspective, it's like, bitch, you told the other person the same fucking thing. Oh gosh, the girlfriend, the exes. And it's like, you told me the same thing that you're telling her. Oh, I feel it. I feel it, baby. I feel it. But sometimes Sufis be like that. You know how a mystic gets hooked on a mantra sometimes, right? The Sufi's repeating one of those formulas which each dervish makes the object of his attention from time to time. Now, yeah, basically that's saying, mystics are mystics and they be like that. But it's interesting, these words. One, they used formulas. I like that. Sometimes it is a formula. And making the formula the object of attention. And if you've watched my videos, you know that I am talking about changing the word worship to paying attention to something. Just pay attention. Please. That's all you got to do. Put energy into it. Pay attention to it. And it says from time to time, because mystics aren't just one way all the time. Okay. So this mantra that he repeated to everybody that came on board was, quote, "Try to be aware of death until you know what death is." Now, let's think about the people. They're boarding on this ship and they're like, what the fuck, dude? Why you be talking about death when we're about to go out in the middle of the ocean, in the sea, in the 19th century, where there's like big fucking shit, like big shit, like the oceans hadn't been overfished and all the big, beautiful, that's sad. That's sad. I don't have to stay there for very long, but you get my picture. This is back when the ocean was real fucking scary and powerful. And they'd be like, why? Why would you want me to think about death right now? That's the last thing we need to be thinking about. And sometimes mystics gonna tell you something that you don't want to think about. No. Shut the fuck up. I don't need to hear that right now. But anyway, so they're all on board and out. And of course the storm brews up, of course, right? That's going to happen. And it gets really bad. Like, bad enough for everyone to get on their knees and kiss their ass goodbye. And they'd be freaking out. They're freaking out. But we all know what the dervish is doing, right? The mystic, kind of look over there. What do you think he's doing? He's sitting in lotus. He's got his hands in some beautiful mudras, and he is singing mantras, and he is zenned the fuck out, right? And in the book it says, quote, all this time the dervish sat quietly, reflective, reacting not at all to the movement and the scenes which surrounded him. Okay. So we know he ain't paying attention to shit. He's just sitting there in his zen. And, it really made me think, too, about the Sufi swinging, because I've been doing a lot of audios about the swing of emotions. And it's not like mystics don't adopt this theory that you have to be monotoned, Buddha nature at all times, right? Like from time to time is mentioned and important. And a real Sufi, dervish, shaman, mystic, angel, whatever, knows that it is the timing that is the most important. I heard a Native American say the most important thing to have a successful rain dance is the timing. So, when to zen the fuck out and not piss yourself when you're in the spaceship, or shit yourself, or puke. The body can have some really strong, drastic reactions to, a lot of stuff, right? Especially if you're empathic and you feel everything. So, the storm stopped, right? It all goes quiet. Everybody's looking around like, oh God, okay. Oh Jesus, it's over. And they start looking at the dervish and they see him over there and he hasn't moved the whole time. And they're like, wait a second, you didn't move the whole time. Their memory becomes more aware of the dervish in the boat. And they're like, what the fuck, dude? Did you not even realize that during this frightful tempest, there was nothing more solid than a plank between us all and death? They're like, you know how close we were to death, dude? Do you know? Were you aware? What do you think the dervish says? He's like, oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. That's how the sea is, you guys. Like, did you not know? And how dangerous the waters were? They knew that. You don't think they didn't hear all the stories about all of the deep sea fishermen? They come back, they tell stories. See, pirates are storytellers. And anyway, he's like, what, you weren't aware that we were going to be close to death possibly on this boat? What he says in the story is, in the normal course of events, there is even less between us and death. Now, we're talking about on land and on the boat. And he's like saying basically, I mean, yeah, it's dangerous here on the boat, but you know it's just as dangerous on land. Like, for real. You can die just as easily and you're just as close as death on land than you are at sea. Now think about that esoterically. Do. You know, on both places it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Death is always by our side. Remember his mantra. Think of death until you know what death is. Anubis is my lapdog. Yeah. You know, you just have to love it. You just have to love it as much as you love life. And then I was like, you gonna pull cards? Because, you know, the cards are like telling me, look, my guides, whatever, is telling me basically, like, don't even talk without the cards. Like, whatever meetings, whatever anything, whatever deep conversation, if we're in a conversation, I've got my cards and I'm pulling them out so that I can keep that divine channel open, right? Anyway, so I'm like, all right, let's just pick a card. Let's pick a card for the story, for the Sufi, and see what it says. And I picked 6 of diamonds. The beauty of life, the diamond, the earth, the sacred 6. To kiss the face of death, we kiss. And I visualized life as being Venus and the Empress. But what came out was, we kiss our asses. And then I was like, oh yes, of course. Your ass is your back door. It is. It is. It is your south node. It's where the shit comes out. Think about it esoterically, guys. It's fun to think about it also physically, because as above, so below. Your ass is here, and your ass is also there. It is Uranus. Keep it clean. It's a portal to your dragons. I mean, I explore our freedom of sexuality, and it took me down an emotional roller coaster that, yeah, I realize there's a lot of backdoor south node shit down there, and it's a shadow spot that a lot of tension can build up, and it took me down a road. I had to stop writing, cry a little bit, and now I'm back. I'm okay. Swings. Remember the swings. It's like, I see you. I feel you. I love you. And it had a lot to do with my bodily feels, and that I'm empathic. See, nothing ever really happened to me physically, but when tapping into somebody that I love and their story, I can physically feel what they went through. I mean, I do remember a lot of past lives, My body is highly sensitive and I feel everything. That's actually how I communicate with animals. Which then made me think, being a pet psychic, right? And you think of psychic abilities. What do you think of? You think of mind, don't you? I know you do. You control the mind. And I even said it in my TikTok video. The mind is definitely important. Yes. Yes. But don't forget the body too. And that your body and your feels and how you feel things in your system is so important. And that's when you really start realizing that you need to take care of your body as a temple. What you put in it, the food, all that stuff. You got to, the yoga, you got to take care of your body. The 6 of diamonds, take care of your body so that you can get on the boat and, stay on the boat, be helpful on the boat. And also it came out, don't forget the swing with your body too. Like if you've experienced something physically with your body that wasn't good, but you want it to be good now, because we want to be able to feel good in our bodies. And sometimes in the past, a memory has made us not feel so good in our bodies. Don't forget that there is an opposite already existing for you. The joy in that area, in that event, in that act, in that ceremony, in that body also has just as much capability of pleasure as it does pain. And, if you get involved with some really talented sex workers and tantric practitioners, they can guide you through a lot because our bodies are important. Understand that change is the universal constant. So, when you feel the depression and the farthest of the negative swings of the water, the depths of the depths, know that the surface and the stars still exist. And Uranus is out there, right? And all of them are. But Uranus, particularly the reason I focus on Uranus so much is because it's just gorgeous. But it holds the energy of technology. I mean, all this shit, all this internet stuff, this device that I absolutely love and adore. And yes, AI. Don't be scared of this shit. You can't be scared of it. You can't be scared of death. Interesting. Devices and death. It's kiss your ass goodbye. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Please, there's no need to kiss your ass goodbye, but kissing your ass can be a very amazing ceremony of self-love, self-care. Take care of your bodies. And whether you're traveling mentally or physically, because we travel in all different dimensions. Let it be in love, light, always. But there is shadow as well. And don't forget the lube. And now, don't forget the wax. Because we need to be able to be slippery at times and sticky at other times. Take care.